no tooling cost, freedom of design, complex internal geometries. Manufacture these unbelievably complex items in one single piece. Change the design on the fly without any cost implications. You can create an object exactly to your specification at a very fast turnaround and for a very low cost. 3DPrint UK is a company that specialises in additive manufacture, commonly known as 3D printing. Focuses predominantly on batch manufacture and prototype of polymer parts. Additive manufacturing, as it is correctly termed, is the process of taking a digital model of an item and creating a physical version of it. You do this by generating the file in CAD or 3D scanning, and CAD is computer-aided design. Specialised software then slices it into thousands of very thin layers. The printer then takes that data and lays down the material bit by bit to create a physical part. The major advantage of 3D printing is that you don't require tooling. Now, tooling is something you have in traditional methods of manufacture where you create a mould. Once you've created that mould, you can then produce thousands of items for relatively affordable prices. The big issue being that the mould costs a lot of money to make. You end up with a huge upfront cost and then a small part cost. With 3D printing being the other way around, with no tooling cost, you end up with just your unit cost. Now, the unit cost is a little more and can be quite a lot more than injection mould, but you don't have the upfront cost to start with. So this works hugely advantageously for low volume production. One of the other main advantages is the freedom of design. With moulding tools and other forms of subtractive manufacture, you end up having a vast amount of design limitation. With 3D printing, in the nature of it, you're building in layers. You don't have to pull a part out of a mould or use a tool to cut into a solid piece of object. You have a lot more freedom in the actual design and generation of your parts. With 3D printing, you can just manufacture the parts as one whole body. You don't have to worry about any of the issues that you would have with any of the other parts. Rather than having a part made up of multiple different smaller items, which each individually would have a tooling cost to them, you end up combining them as one part in a single go. You can also end up with parts that have complex internal geometries. You can hollow out parts to make them lightweight, something you can't do with many other methods. Iterations are very easy as well with 3D printing. As you don't have the tooling costs, any modification you want to make to your product, you can do with no extra cost. You can do this from prototype stage all the way through into your production stage. If you're mid-batch production of your items, you can change the design on the fly without any cost implications. So parts coming off our machines can be produced for very low cost and at a very fast turnaround. Traditional methods of manufacture can take months to get from the initial order to being shipped. Whereas with us, it's generally around about 2 weeks, but can be as little as 2 days. One thing that unites the majority of our customers, and they're generally small, medium enterprises in engineering or industrial environment, we would allow them to dramatically reduce their R&D times, lower their costs of manufacture, and bring products to market for more affordable prices and faster timeframes. We specialise in one area specifically, powder bed fusion or PBF. We manufacture parts out of a finely powdered plastic material, and they are fused in our 2 different technologies, multi-jet fusion, MJF, or selective laser sintering, SLS. The machines we use are state-of-the-art. Parts made off these machines are known as the benchmark for quality and affordability. We're able to offer our clients our printing services at affordable prices for a number of reasons. The hardest thing we do is not printing the part, is taking the part from the printer to the postage box. We've developed our own software to cater for this. We are able to sort through all parts multiple times during the day through multiple different finishes and different processes, and then collate them all at the end into their respective orders and get them dispatched. This efficiency brings costs down dramatically. We can then pass those savings on to our customers. One of our regular customers, Open Bionics, produce custom prosthetics. Traditionally, you'd have to CNC machine these or produce them in ways that are vastly more expensive. The traditional ways of manufacturing these limited the design as well, meaning that you couldn't have particularly complex geometries on the outside, meaning that prosthetics were not the nicest things to look at. This product is both complex and aesthetically pleasing. A part like this is available for less than £100, whereas traditionally you were talking thousands. Thanks to the ease of customization with 3D printing, Open Bionics are able to produce these completely bespoke to the user, and the material they're manufactured in is strong enough to live up to the day-to-day wear and tear of a prosthetic. Products like this you can generally injection mould. However, the prohibitive cost is the tooling. Something like this, you're probably talking between £5,000 and £10,000 to create the mould, and then after that you're probably talking a few pence per item. What we can do is we can produce these for £1 or £2, but without the setup costs. This means that if you wanted, say, 50 to 100 of these, you're talking £100 to £150, rather than £10,000. For the last few years, we've seen a tremendous amount of growth. I believe this is down to us focusing in the correct area of the additive manufacturing market. But at the same time, I also believe it's down to the in-house software that we have developed. We've gone from 10 members of staff to 14 members of staff, yet our productivity has tripled. In a 24-hour cycle, we will produce around about 3,500 to 5,000 parts across the machines. We do 24 hours of the printing and cooling, and then we have another 24 hours for the finishing, post-processing and sorting. This means we can have parts shipped out of here within 48 hours of the order being placed. Our aim is to take this to the next level, where we can produce more and more and more parts, more and more efficiently, and pass on those savings to our customers in the future.